What's the biggest misconception about you?
I just want people to know that, you work extremely hard to be the best player, and that people who don't know me, get to know me before you judge.
What's up, y'all? I'm Roz Goldon-Woode. I'm an NBA reporter, and welcome to Sideline Stories, behind-the-scenes conversations that I record with my cell phone and then share with you. James Harden is a frontrunner for the MVP award this season, but the past 2 to 3 years, he's fallen just short. I examine his dominance, his growth and improvement. We have honest discussions about the critique on his leadership and defense, and then we discuss how this year just might be James Harden's breakthrough as the most valuable player in the NBA. What makes James Harden a different challenge defensively than any other player?
Number one, he's left-handed. So I think when we're talking about defense, it's a pattern just like offense. And most of the times in the NBA, you're guarding guys who's right-handed. James is left-handed, which is different. The way he handles the ball, he's 6'6", he's strong, and can shoot the ball lights out. Makes him very tough to guard.
A matchup against him every night, it's like, how do you guard him? Are you taking away his three? Okay, I'm gonna get to the cup one. No, we're not gonna give you no layups. All right, I'm gonna kill you from behind the arc. Like, you just gotta hope that he's not making shots when they're gonna give a name.
Harden is a one-man fast breaker. I can't see any other player that puts the pressure of attacking and coming downhill with handles, finishing ability, than I do with Harden.
Do you see something different in the way he's playing now than maybe he was with you?
I think he's just more controlled right now. I just think he's at another level. I just think he's better. You saw flashes of all this, but now you're seeing more consistent. You're just seeing him. I'm seeing more consistent in his decision making. I don't see quite the amount of turnovers. Just silly turnovers. Sometimes James will try a pass that he has no business trying. He's still gonna have some turnovers because he has the ball a lot, but he doesn't have that. I would say defensively wise, I think he's better defensively. I really do. I think he's out there. He's trying harder. He's more engaged.
When you coached James Harden in OKC, did you see signs of MVP level talent and potential that early?
First of all, a very bright player, very bright. Played like an old man when he came in. We actually tried to speed his game up because he was so methodical in how he did things in a way that I enjoyed because it was like old school. The other thing that was amazing about him was his strength as a young player, physical strength. He was just amazingly strong and versatile as a player coming into this league.
Is your reputation on defense unfair or deserved?
Unfair. You got a few plays where I get cut back door or whatever the case may be. But other than that, you really can't say anything else. There's not one single time throughout a game that you got guys going at me and saying, "Oh, he's a weakling on the court." It's not the case. So you could pick not only just my clips, but you could pick clips from your favorite players in the NBA, and you can pick those same clips out. So I don't pay attention to it. It's just noise.
When we first got him from Oklahoma City, we put a lot of offensive of responsibility on him, and I think he was so good, and he was winning. I think there were times that we just probably should have pushed him. We'd always be on him about being a better defender, but there were times I think that he was tired probably, and he did take some plays off defensively. And hey, there's no, when you're standing in the corner and your man lays it in, and you have a video of you going, that's not good defense, okay? And so it's well earned, believe me. But again, I think he's a better defender today than he was a few years ago, which is a credit to him.
The reputation for defense came from a couple of plays that there were no effort on. So it's not like he never had effort on D. I think there were just with the internet and some plays that were that looked really bad, like Olay defense. I think because people kept showing that's who you tend to identify him as.
And labels are interesting in the league because you can get a label and it's hard to shake. And it doesn't mean that it's always accurate.
I think it's more so putting them in actions as opposed to like going at him one-on-one. He can move his feet, he's strong. So I don't think it's more so about like going at him one-on-one more so than maybe teams like trying to catch him weak side and catch him falling asleep. I don't think his focus level on the defensive end is quite like his focus level on the offensive end. And so I think it's more so off the ball than necessarily just him on it.
It's asking him to go out there and be a lockdown defender. Not saying that he can or can't do it, but hell, if you're putting up 32 points per game and 9 assists and 7 rebounds, you're doing something great, especially if the team's winning.
When people talk about James Harden's leadership, I think it's also important to identify different types of leadership that can be successful and also understand his personality. We dove into a number of perspectives on this topic, and often Chris Paul's name came up as an important piece to the development of James Harden and the Rockets.
Now, you know, it got a lot of attention, your comments on James's leadership. And I'm curious now that you've had some time to be away from it and also seeing kind of the response it got and the attention and the backlash, do you have any regrets about your comments on his leadership or maybe the way it was said?
No, I said what I think. If you ask me a question, I'll tell you what I think. I got no problem with that. No, that's what I saw. Now, is he getting better? I hope so. On the floor leadership. I'm not talking about, you know, taking guys out for dinner, you know, all the other stuff. I'm just talking on the floor leadership when things start going badly. And that's the question was, the question was, will Chris Paul help him? And I said yes, because there are times if you're out there and all this stuff is coming down on you, when that does happen to James gets more passive. So James will hold the ball, and I think what he's doing is looking for the perfect play.
I mean, I think you can ask, you know, from my coaches now to teammates now, you know, just leading by example and vocally, you know, and then, you know, as a leader, you know, you get better, you work on things that you're not great at, and you just try to improve them, you know, so you work on whether it's communicating, whether it's, you know, approaching a different player a certain way, those things you get better at, you know, so even some of the past greats had different versions of being a leader. You just, you be the best leader you can be, and then that's it.
I think the one type of leader you don't want to be is the vocal guy that nobody believes, and you're just a rah-rah guy, and we know you're going to turn it on when coach comes in or the crowd comes in, or a convenient leadership. You don't like that. Sometimes we get caught up with different personalities, and personalities do not make a leader. Character makes a leader, and if you're known for being a hard worker, trusting teammates, being selfless, sacrificing, that makes you a leader. And I think that with Chris Paul coming over and maybe being a vocal leader and more demonstrative, it helps him just to be his smooth, laid-back self and lead his own way. So I think maybe he's taking a rap on leadership because of his personality, and it's about character, not personality.
How does having Chris Paul on your team help your chances at a championship and also potentially MVP?
Well, man, he just takes the pressure off, you know, myself and my teammates a lot, you know, whether it's playmaking abilities, leadership, defensively, he brings it all to the table, future Hall of Famer. And so if you add somebody like that to the puzzle, it makes my job a lot easier. You all have the same goal, and that's to win a championship, and then, you know, MVP. Like I said, just continue to work hard, and he makes my job a lot easier.
What is Chris Paul demanding of you every day? Because I know Chris Paul asks a lot from his teammates.
Be the best player on the court every single night.
Everyone's got their opinion, but one thing that's undeniable is who's putting in the most work on the court and leading their team to wins. This is James Harden's breakthrough.
Who is your pick so far for MVP?
I think James got MVP. I just don't see any. I thought for a while KD, when Steph was out, really played well. But overall, when you take the 82 games in totality, I think James has played the best. I think Houston's probably had the best runs throughout the season. And Houston's had the least amount of drama.
Harden's had the best record in the league. His team is playing some extraordinary ball. And so if you're going to look at Coach D'Antoni, maybe as Coach of the Year, if you're going to look at Capella as most improved or one of the guys do it, you got to look at their leader. And Chris Paul has been great. This is Harden's team. And so right now, I would think he's the leader, the front runner for the MVP this season.
2015, you were named by the Players Awards MVP, but Stephen Curry won the MVP. 2016, you came runner-up. Stephen Curry again won MVP. Last year, Russell Westbrook won MVP, but you were runner-up again. How do you respond to being so close and second best every year?
I don't think I'm second best, but just keep going. Keep going, and eventually great things will happen. You know, eventually my time will come. And if it doesn't, then that's life. But you just continue to get better, continue to put yourself in that conversation every single year. You're doing something great.
You ever get frustrated with?
Never.
Why might this year be different?
It might not be. but I'll continue to do the same things, the right things, working extremely hard, and just putting myself, like I said, in that position, in that category every single year until I can't hoop no more.